Hello, 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 and welcome to Karloc Does Some Science. Today we're doing Wither Skeleton Farm. So here we are in the nether to start off with. I've found a nether fortress, which is a starting point. And for the farm I'm going to build, I've pre-prepared a bit here. So what we need to find is a crossroads, a gap, and another crossroads. Now every time I've found one of these, it's either a bit of road, a bit of building, another crossroads with a little sort of roof like this section, or 3 crossroads in a row. This section, as far as I can tell, is always 19 in between the two as well. And to look at the spawning areas that we're looking to make use of, if we go to a crossroads, I tend to mark the center block first so I know where it is. So when I start removing things, I still know my starting point. And this area goes 19 by 19, so from this bit we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and on the 8th block is where we come out. So this ends up with a bounding box of 19 by 19. So this is the area that the mobs can spawn around this crossroads. And then for a second one here, I've marked it out as well for the second one. So what else I've done, I've removed a bit of the netherrack around here, just to make it clearer. This was a half-broken fortress on this side anyway. Oh, still got a few bits that I've missed as well. So just to make it clearer. So the next thing is to work out where the platforms are going to go. So the spawn box around this type of crossroads is a 10 high spawn box, so the orange and white show 5 above that point and 5 below. Normally I've just gone in and put 3 half slab floors in the middle, some blocks above, some blocks below, but looking at it today I thought actually I think we can fit 4 half slab floors in the normal bounding box of this crossroads. So to work out where we can put extra platforms below and above, we have to look at the entire fortress and imagine there was a box that encompassed all the spawning areas of the fortress. So for the top point, I've flown around, had a look at where the spawn areas of certain elements are. This one takes you to level 70, but I seem to recall I found one over here. That will go up to 72. Yeah, looking at block 72. So for my floor maker, I pull it up in yellow on the top. And that one should be at 72, so I could then work out what floors I could have above. And looking down for the lowest point, I believe it's over here, which is 48. And I'll put it down to level 48 here to work out where the floors can go below. And so on, this fortress seems a little bit high up from this crossroads compared to the other elements that when I've built ones before. Normally I've ended up with 3 platforms and then maybe 3 below and usually 1 above. But this one, I think, we'll find out when I build it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We should be able to fit 8 platforms in to this area. So the main idea of this farm compared to where I've done them before, where I've had 2 crossroads touching, is to deliberately have a gap in between so that I can run between the sort of 2 parts. So we have a bunch of floors over on this side, non-spawn bits in the middle, a bunch of spawn pads on this side. So whenever I'm in this farm, this part of it, 2 things happen. One, I'm not blocking any spawns in the other side, so stuff will spawn over there. Whereas partly, if you've got 2 together, you can be blocking more of the farm when you're in there killing stuff. The second one I realised after building this design is I normally have a sort of type of room doorway to run into. When you run into here, because it's only a 19 by 19 spawn pad, often, especially with speed beacons, you can run in here, kill blazes with your sword without them even be able to shoot you. And more importantly, when you're over in this corner killing stuff, it's unlikely, unless you're right in the corner, that anything else will spawn on the pad you're on, so you won't get blazes across the other side killing you or trying to kill you. It's annoying rather than actually too dangerous. So I will get on and build some more of that. Obviously I'm in creative mode, so it's much easier because nothing will aggro on me, but it's doable in survival. I've done it many times. There's just a couple of things to remember in survival when you're building one of these farms. Is 1, always have fire resist potions, so when you get knocked off by a ghast into a lava lake somewhere, at least you won't die. And the other thing to remember is, depending what you're making it out of, like I'll have a load of glass on the interior walls, is to just make sure you build the exterior walls up first before you put the glass in, because ghasts firing in while you're making it will blow up your glass, which is a bit of a pain. So I will start putting in some platforms in a moment. But just a quick overview here of what we are looking for. Let's get rid of the F3. So we've got 1 crossroads, that should be a 19 gap, and then the other crossroads. It's alright, I'll start building some up and then I'll be back. Right, so I've now built all the platforms and put a glass box around it so we can see in. Obviously if you're building in survival, don't need to be glass on the outside, it's just so we can see in. So let's go through some of the details. First of all, probably the most important thing is the spawning pads. Obviously one end is around 1 crossroads. There's a bit in the middle that's not spawnable, and there's the other crossroad 19 by 19 area up this end. Oh, and I've still got the orange blocks in, which were the centre of the crossroads. Right, so this is the original floor level here on this nether brick. So it would be like that. The orange and white ones show the spawning box height of the crossroads, which is 5 above the surface and 5 below. So here we can fit in 4 platforms with half slabs there, there, there and there. This is probably the most important part. Each spawning place is 2.5 high, so we can fit a wither skeleton in. So these 4 platforms you'll always be able to get. The lower platforms or the higher platforms are what's included in the entire bounding box of the fortress, so it may vary how many you can put above or below. anything outside the proper spawning box of the crossroads needs to be full nether brick. Half slab nether brick won't work, and any other brick block will also not work. So it has to be these bricks. The ones within the spawning area of the crossroads can be anything. Obviously we want a half slab so we can fit more in, which means we conveniently get the 2.5 and then the next platform. When we go up to the higher level, we have a half slab below to make this spawning one 2.5 high, then the spawning one, and then we need 2.5 again, so we've no half slab, and then we have the solid blocks, so they're slightly further apart because we need this extra block. So here on this fortress we could fit 8 platforms in. So I'll quickly sort of show you a sort of mini cutout of the way it works. These are just the half slab spawning ones where we can fit a wither skelly. These are the nether brick ones with half slab above where we can fit a wither skelly, and the bottom ones similar. Obviously we can fit 4 like this in. Then on the sides what I do is I have half slabs on the same level as the platform, and then half slab on top, which means in here we only have a too high spot, which means if we put a pigman here who's too high or something, and if I stand here, drop into survival mode and punch him in the face if he doesn't fall off, because he doesn't think he can make it in here because it's half slab 1, half slab. He can't path onto here, so I can annoy him as much as possible and he can't get to me. Saying that, if there's enough mobs in there they will push on to me, so they can be pushed up here but they can't natively path up here. So we'll kill him off. And the other thing about the 2.5 high platform for the wither skellies is if I hit him, even though he can see me, he can't move in this height for some reason, and I can just play with him. Now if I go basically within sword's length, he will actually hit me like that and wither me, and hopefully I won't die from that. So yeah, that's why we use the half slabs above. So that's why on these ones we put in the half slabs above rather than just leaving it open. Is otherwise if we have open and if I thump him, he will be able to run at me and hit me. Oh, can't actually place one over his head now. Move. Thank you very much. So that's the sort of falling out of the sky. That's the reason why we make sure they only have 2.5 in the middle, and then the edge parts are made like this to be safe. So back over to the farm. Just block that off because I don't want any ghasts to start coming after me. Survival. Right, so I'm back into survival, eat some food, get my haunches up. I've got beacons over here, to give me some protection. The type of stuff I've got is, I've got almost unenchanted. I put fire protection on because that's very important, because you will get set on fire by blazes. And the type of sword we need is realistically a smite 5 and looting 3 sword. Without looting, the wither skulls are so rare, we'll be there for hours and hours. With looting we get a much better chance of getting wither skulls. Normally I'd have fully enchanted armour, but I haven't. Right, so this is the bottom platform. We can run around in this middle bit. Again, it's only too high, so pigmen won't be able to pass to me, and baby pigmen will, so we have to watch out for them. So we can go up to each floor, have a quick look across, see what we want to go, and then whiz up to the next floor. Normally I run around the farm, find the best looking platforms, which is like over here. There's a skeleton under there, which is a bit annoying, so we'll take him out first. So here you see they can't actually properly see me. It's only if I get too close, but I can just get close enough to use my sword without getting hit by them. Then we get these sort of safety edges here on 3 sides, so I can run around stuff I don't want to fight. Whiz across to the other side. What I would tend to do is run in, hit a blaze, maybe twice. Take out the pigmen. And put out fires as soon as possible, because most mobs will still spawn with highlight levels, but the wither skeletons won't, and that's what we want. So now we take out the wither skeletons. Oh, got too close, got hit. A bit laggy because all the blazes in the farm are currently trying to shoot me. Which is why this platform, for example, is very on fire. Obviously the other reason for putting the fire out before you kill the wither skeleton in particular is if the heads drop into the fire they will get destroyed. Obviously the fire will normally go out on its own, but it's quicker to kill it off yourself. Each level has got a little bit of different coloured glass to help me know which floor I'm on. And obviously if we have lots of pigmen, we can deliberately annoy them and then get them to come and see me. Obviously if I want to use a bow, which I can, in order to get the looting effect, I need the bow in my offhand, the sword in my main hand, and then when I shoot anything with a bow, because the looting sword's in my main hand, I'll get the looting effect. So you may want to just pick one out. I would recommend killing off pigmen always, because they use the mob cap up, and in order to get more of what we want spawning, then we kill everything basically. Magma cubes I don't always kill just because they take a little while. They're not as bad as they used to be. With sweeping edge on a sword you can kill multiple ones relatively quickly. So you can see this is one of the netherrack floors, nether brick even, So this is the 19 by 19 spawn pad. While I'm over on this side of the farm, the other side of the farm is completely out of my range, certainly on a server, and when you're over a certain side, even on a single player world, which tends to have a 24 block area where nothing will spawn close to you. Most servers are set to 16. Which means I can still get stuff spawning on the other side. So we can go up and down to our heart's content, we can just wipe everything out. Or we can just hunt for the skeletons. Like I say, I tend to run in, hunt for skeletons. Certainly when you first come to the farm, make sure you kill off them first, because that's what you want. And then run around. Sometimes you get good spawns of skeletons all over the place, sometimes not quite so good. Oh, lower level's been quiet at the moment. So that is basically the farm. Just pop back into creative to come out here. Realise making that out of white makes it look like there's a ghast over there, not a sensible idea. Right, so here, partly to just make the farm a lot clearer, I've removed a huge amount of netherrack and basically the whole fortress. Ideally, you would either remove or half slab or some other way to prevent spawns every block in 128 blocks in every direction from the edge of the spawn pads. So from here, 127, got 3 there, 4 there already, so that would only be 124 in that direction. But when you have lots of floors, you've got quite a lot of spawn spaces in there. So just a reasonable amount of half slabbing, either removing or half slabbing the rest of the nether fortress is quite important to get done. And every bit of half slabbing will help out here. But as you can see, we get quite reasonable spawns, even with other things spawning around us. So there we have it, the Wither skeleton farm, sort of split into 2 parts this time. There are all the spawn floors. Let's just hold in on this is the most important bit, the 4 half slab ones, because if you're building one of these, you want to do at least the 4 floors. You don't necessarily need to do the other ones, but the 4 half slab ones will give you the quickest to build and the most effect. You don't necessarily have to have all the safety edges on either side. I just prefer, because it's a bit nicer, quicker to be able to run down the safety edges sometimes rather than having to fight through all the mobs. It's faster to run past them, kill the one you want and come back. I use different coloured glass so I know what floor I'm on, because it can get lost. Obviously this middle section is quite large, you don't actually need it this big. I could have left half of this off and just had stairs on this side. Obviously I could have the opening over on the side if I wanted. I just feel in the middle is the best. And because it's only a 19 by 19, we can go in quite fast. Rush in, hit a skeleton before they even spot them there. There you are. Whereas when I've had the double platforms in once, so be 19 by 19, twice next to each other, when you're killing stuff at one end, mobs at the other end do tend to take pot shots at you. And not that it's particularly dangerous if you've got good gear and once you've got beacons up protecting you. Obviously it's not dangerous at all at the moment because I'm in creative mode, that's why the skeleton didn't chase me. Survival, they might actually target me now. Let's see if I can find a quick room to run into that something will... Right, it's like this blaze here. See, he's going to shoot at me, but I might be able to get him almost. And then we've got 4 with the skellies. We can quickly smash them. And the skull, look at that. There's a ghast out there, obviously. More half slabs and despawning out there will prevent them. And only at my temporary entrance, which doesn't actually link up to anything yet, would be where you're at danger because they can't see you through the glass, but if they target you and you run behind the glass, they will shoot you and blow up the glass. So there we have it, our wither skeleton skull from the wither skeleton farm. So I think that's about it. I hope you... Oh, one more thing. What I'll do is I'll cut in a moment and actually show you one of these I built in a survival world to show it can be done and it's not that tricky. Here we are on XadeCraft server, in fact, where I built this farm. So here's my safety beacons as I go into the farm, and the 2 spawn pads, one on either side. Here I've added in a trash can chest on every floor for throwing away the junk that you get from these farms. Let's quickly run in here. I know they're going to carry on firing like mad, but just want to see how it all is. So here this is the original level of the crossroads, which is why that block's there. I put in just a couple little windows. You can see I've done some half slabbing around here, but not a lot. And in this one I've only got 3 half slab floors. And then I've got nether brick floors on the rest of them. I do tend to do the half slab ones as not nether brick half slabs, just because I don't want to get confused when I'm building it as to which floor should be which. On this one I did edge piece on the far end as well. Safety bit is not necessary really. If you were really wanted to keep as minimum amount of materials, possibly just this safety strip and one side even, just to give you a bit. Here I've got sort of 2 sets of stairs going up. Say magma cubes are probably the thing that hits most or hits the hardest in here, so unless you go jumping in with them you should be okay. The big ones can't make it out of there either. Some pigmen. See, the nice thing about the safety bit is if you've got a lot of pigmen spawning, you can just hit them, make them come to you, so you don't need to run around after them. And as you see, one who's stuck on the edge here, he can't actually move. And these guys can't move either. But he will hit me if I go too fast, just like that. So, don't hug them. And then I think this is the bottom floor now. We're at the bottom one. Yes, purple. One thing to show you quickly. I can remember what floor is other than the one I built in the test world. Obviously it's very empty and clear. Around here you see I've just sort of built it into the fortress. Parts of the fortress are still here. I've half slabbed it a bit, still much to do. And there's the outside of it. Let's quickly go around this side. So yeah, so some half slabbing definitely helps, especially in the nether fortress sections. There's the little windows looking out or in. But because it's, like I said, a reasonable sized platforms for spawning, it's not too badly affected if you haven't fully half slabbed. Because half slabbing a huge amount of nether takes a long time. See that my secret entrance. And then in this one we come in at the top. The entrance into the farm can be whichever level you want. I just happened to be, because my nether hub's on this level, and it just happened to be the top level, so I just came in there. So I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you learned something about wither skeleton farms. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, please comment, ask any questions if you have any, and if you really like, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.